right. I found out allegedly Santa's still not real. 1991, I'm 7 years old. I never even thought about questioning, this person. But 1991, Queen Center Mall, where I would always go to get pictures taken for, with Santa. It's a different Santa, a nice blue-eyed Santa. My mother's, young, pretty woman, as I said. My mother and Santa hit it off. They start dating.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? We've maybe logged in 20,000 hours of conversation before this. I've never heard this. How do you not lead with these stories?
I don't.
Your mom started banging the mall Santa?
The mall Santa.
Oh my God.
My mom, so then goes on a date with the mall Santa and has to tell me that January, February, that's where they met because I heard them talking and I knew who it was. And my mom had to say, listen, that's not Santa, it's Gary. So my mom dated Gary for about 2 years, but the positive thing.
And also, that's seasonal. What's Gary doing for Scott Hole when he's not there?
Oh, so used car salesman.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was. I swear to God.
He was a dual used car salesman / mall Santa, Gary.
Nissan on Northern Boulevard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep. So,
but why didn't she just tell you that was Santa's helper?
Because
why did your world have to come crashing down around you?
Because it was 1991.
It was either Christmas gifts or a really good deal on an Altima.
So because 1991, Gary Claus, instead of, don't forget, there's no cell phone, it's not a digital world.
Right.
Gary didn't want to let my mom slip away because he really felt he had a connection. So he had to put me down and get one of his elves to go get a pen and paper so he could write down my mother's phone number. And there was no way that this couldn't happen in front of me. So I watched this whole thing happen.
Shit.
And the only option after that, after they hit off and started to actually officially date, was to tell me that, hey, Chris, again, this guy, Gary is Santa.
Gary is not the real Santa.
So then I said, how does Gary get the gifts to everybody? Like, what is Gary, I don't understand. So Gary you're dating the real guy?
Your brain is not putting
because I'm I see everywhere, is Gary, are we safe? What is a major celebrity? I was can he introduce me to Michael Jordan? I was like, what can I get out of Gary?
Sure.
Go to school and be like, yeah, my mom dates Santa. So if you guys need anything, I'm the guy.
Wow.
So, and then to prevent me from thinking that, Gary is actually Santa and fucking with my mind, they just told me, hey, it's the thing that we tell people, but what Gary and I have is real love, and that's real, and talking about real love. And then they broke up.
Gary ruined Christmas.
And then my dad was pissed about that. My dad was like, it's bad enough you got to bring Gary in, but now, he ruins freaking Santa for everybody. And my mother was like, Tony, you're in prison. So you're not doing much better here. You're calling us from jail.
Yeah. Wait, where's Gary today? How long did they date?
They dated.
I hope it was long. Otherwise, you got spared Christmas for no reason.
The back-to-back boyfriends my mom dealt with were, one was Gary Claus, Santa ruined it. Then
Don't tell me it was the fucking mall Easter Bunny.
No, the next guy, could you imagine? The next guy she dated, this guy, Chuck, from Vermont. They went on a few dates. Chuck comes, visits my mom. They go on a few dates. He's staying in a hotel, really likes my mom, whatever. Tells my mom, I want you to come to Vermont, and hang out with me for a weekend. My mom's excited, but I don't know if I want to go to Vermont. I get strep throat, which I get strep throat constantly. I still get strep throat.
I understand.
So I got strep throat. My mom has to cancel with Chuck. Chuck flips out, really angers my mother, flips out, whatever. My mom's like, I'm not talking to this guy anymore. It's my son. I'm sorry I can't make the weekend, whatever. Flips out. That night, goes and kills a bartender in some local bar in Vermont, life in prison. So my mother was dated Santa and then a murderer. Back to back. I swear to God.
You never brought that up.
91 to 93.
What are you doing? Are you witness protection?
Yo, yeah. No.
Love a good gay.
Love a good gay. I literally feel like our good friend and good friend of the show, Mateo Lane, who's a good friend of mine, been in my house so many times. I genuinely feel like if I picked him up and threw him, he would land in a triple axel. I feel like if I threw him, he would just triple axel and
He's landing on his feet and it's going to be fast.
Yeah, and I would just hold up a 10.
Yeah.
You don't get gayer than Mateo. And the thing is with a guy like Mateo is he's a no doubt about it gay. He's a D1G, as we call it, a day one gay.
Day one gay.
This was something that it was a 100% chance of being gay.
Yeah.
In the womb. In utero, gay, you can't imagine.
Yeah. He came, he was born and he was like, you'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate.
Yeah.
And they were like, believe it or not, it's a boy.
It's a boy. As soon as he came out, he wrapped the umbilical cord around his neck like a scarf. He just came out and he was like, yeah.
He sings, Google him, sings opera. It was wild, dude.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I first started comedy with when I did the back-to-back gigs in one night for the Italian Mafia, the next night for the backyard barbecue party? So real quick, I was doing a gig. I started comedy 2009. I do this gig. I started comedy October 2009. This is maybe January 2010, maybe February 2010. So 3-4 months in, comedy's horrible. Angel Salazar, the comedian Angel Salazar from Scarface, sees me at Caroline's. He's like, I got a gig for you. So we're gonna go. It's kind of Mafia guys. We're gonna do it. Yeah. I said okay. Yeah. So we go do the gig. I suck. I open up for him. I do some joke that offends some Mafia guy's wife. I had no idea that I even offended his wife. I get off stage. I could hear like a pin drop. I was bombing. I get off stage. Somebody grabs me. One of these like big Mafia henchmen grabs me, puts a knife to my throat, like a full knife to my throat, and says, I quote, "I'm gonna cut your Adam's apple out and feed it to your mother." So I was like, okay. So he says gonna cut my Adam's apple, feed it to my mother. With that, the owner of the place, I think the place is called Scungili's or something like that on Lefferts Boulevard in Queens. It's definitely shut down now.
Shout out to Lefferts Boulevard, Queens.
Shout out Lefferts. So
yes, I remember
Friday
this.
night.
This is wild.
So
what are you thinking in that moment?
When I was thinking at that moment, I was like, I'm gonna die to be an open mic comedian. I'm gonna lose my life.
Did you possibly think you could, right?
Because
if someone's gonna do that to you, and you're not really used to that kind of experience to be treated like your body, like you don't know if it's real, if it's not, if it's a threat. You hear about these senseless acts of violence all the time. And so the owner of the bar, both guys' name were Carmine. The guy who held his knife to my throat was Carmine, and the guy who owned it was named Carmine because the owner says to Carmine, the other guy's like, Carmine, put the knife down, walk away. So Carmine, the owner, grabs me and he takes me down he takes me to what I think is his office and then moves a bookshelf and there's a door behind the bookshelf that exits out onto the street. So I was like, okay. So I don't know what's going to happen. He's like, look, don't tell anybody about this. That guy's a wannabe. He causes problems here. He goes, what were you supposed to get paid? I said, Angel was going to give me $25. He gives me $2,000 in cash that he pulled out of his back pocket. He goes, take this. Just don't tell nobody what happened here. Sure, because that's someone threatened to murder you. That person would go to jail.
And his whole establishment would get shut down. He's probably selling drugs out of the back of it.
Right.
So that
$2,000 cash. What are you thinking in that moment?
In that moment, I'm saying,
should you take it? Should you not?
I'm saying at that moment, this is dirty money. I shouldn't spend it. Fast forward.
Shouldn't spend it.
Fast forward to next week.
But took it.
But I took it.
Yeah.
Fast forward next week. Yeah, I had about 10 new pairs of Jordans. I went
1 week
absolutely wild. yeah. I was buying
some guy in a ditch for that money.
So that's Friday night. You would think like somebody be like, oh, get a knife to my throat. It's like your life will never be threatened again in comedy. It just happened, whatever. I have a show the very next day at an outdoor barbecue. The outdoor barbecue shows are brutal. This is on Northern Boulevard in Queens. I'm doing a joke. There's a guy, again, I suck at comedy. I still do, but this time I really sucked. I'm doing a joke. This guy's got tattoos all over his head and his face. I don't know anything. I'm new. I make a joke to the guy with the tattoos on his face, like, oh, what are you, a kindergarten teacher? Something stupid. With that, he starts breathing hard, starts punching himself in the face, in the chest. So yeah.
Like, what is going on?
What is going on?
He's punching himself
in the face. There was
children. He's already got face tattoos. He's made plenty of decisions in his life that weren't the right decision.
He starts beating the crap out of himself.
Because
he's so enraged. He can't believe that somebody called out on him. So enraged. So his friends.
I mean, go ahead, continue. But I just run off the stage.
No, I was just saying, his friends they all look like gangbangers. His friends are gangbangers. Start backing away from him as if to say, look, the other guys are real hard and criminal guys. Even they're like, I don't want when Caesar gets like this, you got to step away. Yeah. So he starts punching himself in the face. I put the mic. I was in the middle of a joke. It's like this is like your
10th spot ever.
Yeah, it's a backyard barbecue. I put the mic back in the stand, walk off stage left, climb over the fence, exit through the neighbor's backyard.
Because you're coming off the heels of the knife in the throat.
I'm like, what am I doing?
It's a wonder that we know each other and you're here today.
Yeah.
That you continued in comedy.
Continue to do it. My friend Joey G had put the gig together. He got me.
Joey G of Joey G? Joey G?
Joey G.
From the weddings, from the guy that tapes all the weddings?
No.
Oh, he's famous here. Okay.
Oh, no, Joey G's a comedian guy. I think he quit too, Joey G. But anyway, yeah, so I climb over in front of everyone. Like, I put the mic in the stand. Yeah. They said, give it up for Chris. Instead of walking out past it, I just, as if it was the way out.
You will not go. You wouldn't even think of even going anywhere near him.
I scaled a fence and jumped out through a neighbor. The neighbor could have had a pit bull. I didn't care in that moment. I was like, I got to get away from this guy. With that, so I leave. I'm like, that was the craziest thing. Back-to-back nights. I'm doing stand-up. I couldn't believe Friday night I almost died. Saturday I almost died. I get a call Sunday afternoon from another NYPD detective. He says, were you the comedian on stage last night around 6 o'clock? And I said, yes, I was. I climbed out. I don't know if I broke some personal property. I explained the whole story. He goes, it's not about that. He goes, about 45 minutes after you left, the man you made a joke on went and murdered someone in broad daylight on the street, a random guy crossing the street. He murdered him. So people were saying that he was pissed off because of a joke you made. So part of our investigation, we want to know what the joke was.
Holy.
Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. And
holy. Hey, babe.
Holy. Hey, babe. So somebody went and murdered a random stranger because I pissed them off in a comedy show. And I said, am I going to have to testify? Like, I don't want to be a part of this. They said, no. They said, we just want to know So, we're tracking things down. Basically then I got a call maybe 3 months later when they were tying up this thing. A guy had already went back to jail. They said, yeah, what happened was, there was no trial. He just pled guilty. He had just gotten out of prison a week before and was not adjusting to the freedom of the new world because he had done like 20 years. He wanted a reason to go back to prison, and you gave him that reason.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy hey, babe.
All my dates, ChristyComedy.com. Outdoor shows, socially distanced. Road rage is so fun. I never forget. I was maybe 7, 8 years old, and every year, or maybe not every year, it felt like every year, but maybe it was every other year or every couple of years, my family would drive from New York to Florida. My grandfather would drive, and I remember one time it was my grandfather, my mom in the front, and me and my cousin in the back. And we used to do that thing where he'd pull up to a truck, and being a little kid, you go like that, and you pull and you go honk, and let them honk the horn or whatever.
Sure.
So we're pulling up to an 18-wheeler Mack truck. And we're pulling up alongside, and I'm like, oh, Grandpa, do the thing, do the horn. So he goes, sure. He pulls up, and it was on my side. I could see the driver right there, and I'm going like that. like honk, honk, do the horn.
What happened?
Hand to gun. Truck driver rolls down the window, and he goes, Santa's not real. and then rolls the window up and speeds off. And I remember just sitting back into my chair and asking my mother for Dunkaroos.
What a genius!
What a genius!
Oh my God, it's hysterical!
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how far he had to go? That probably motivated him for the rest of that trip. He had to go 5 more state lines. He was probably like,
yeah. So my Uncle Victor, R.I.P.
Love you.
There was a ring going around. Somebody was robbing like women's purses in my neighborhood.
Oh, there was a crime ring.
Going around robbing women's purses right in my neighborhood. So
like off of the women in the street, like
ripping them off their shoulder, right, and then muggings,
right,
and then selling or the ring, the criminal enterprise ring was being dealt with out of the back of a bodega that was on my corner. So the back of the bodega on my corner
was a hot spot.
They were stealing bags and they money selling whatever.
How did you know this?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So my uncle used to hang out all the time in this bodega, and I had credit at the bodega because they knew that I was his nephew through marriage. So I go in there, get a cheese sandwich and a soda. I say, put this on Uncle Victor's tab, and they would say okay, because they knew that he's good for it because I'm Victor's kid. I'm Victor's nephew through marriage. So they were like, it's all good.
Okay.
So then one time,
so they were like,
okay, I'm reloaded.
Yeah, you sound like Scarface.
Yeah. It was So it was the guys in the bodega. So one day, somebody steals my mother's purse off the shoulder. My mother pushes my own mother to the ground, steals her purse. She got mugged. Shows up to the house, hands bleeding from being thrown to the floor.
Oh, my God, that's dramatic.
Bag ripped off the shoulder. My mother did manage, and this one was shout out my mom. She did manage shout out. She had a purse on her left shoulder. She had our dinner, which was from Wendy's, in her right hand. She dropped the soda, but she was able to keep my chicken nuggets and a small cheeseburger.
Oh God!
And served it to me, and it's unbelievable.
Shout out
I didn't get the Frosty that I wanted, but
shout out Wendy, shout out Frosty, shout out chili. They have nice chili on the.
But my mom still. That's how you know, and that's how you know. Like, and by the way, today's International Women's Day. Whenever this episode comes out, so I just want to give a shout out to my mother. Is you? I'll never forget that you did feed me that night, even though you just got mugged. You saved the Wendy's. You sacrificed your purse, but you said you're not. One thing you're not getting is my son's chicken nuggets with a small fry.
No.
You're not getting that.
Chicken nuggets and small fry for all purposes to you are way more valuable than a purse.
Yeah, I was like, Mom, I don't care that you lost your Social Security card. That means nothing to me. I'm 9.
I was gonna say, was she like? Did she handle it? Was she like, this asshole grabbed my thing and ran? I screamed, but I couldn't. Or did she come home like, oh,
she came
I
home
had to stay indoors for the next 5 years?
It was one of those things. She was like, I just was mugged. Somebody stole my purse.
Oh my God.
And then my aunt who we live with, she's like, call 911, whatever. And then I was like, oh my God, what happened? And then my mom has the Wendy's, and she's like, here, have your dinner. So I'm like, ugh. Yeah. So I'm eating it. So
you're like, what happened?
I'm like, Mom, you the barbecue sauce. I want extra. You know how good Wendy's barbecue sauce is. And
2 sauces, Mom.
So my uncle says, what did this guy look like? Whatever, like
God,
that.
He knows where to go. He knows where the chop shop is for the purses.
So I said, she says, oh, you look like this, and this. He goes, I think I may know what's going on here. He goes, do me a favor, don't call the cops. I think I can handle this. Whoa. This is all, swear to God, true. So then
is this the guy who used to rip your heart out of your chest from Temple of Doom?
No, that's Uncle Johnny. This is Theo. Okay. This is a different guy.
It would have been great if you went down to the bodega and started ripping hearts out.
But Uncle Johnny did still have his uniform from Korea that had holes and blood in it, and he said, "This is what real men do." And then he showed me his bloody uniform. I was like, wow. It's okay.
A lot to unpack.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to put on your daughter's makeup. This is. So he says, I'll take care of this. So maybe an hour or two go by, right? He comes back with the purse. He has the purse. He said, listen, the money is already gone. I couldn't get the money back, but you don't have to cancel your credit cards or your license or whatever. I have the purse back. And then they're like, oh my God, what happened? Whatever, all this. And he's like, I got the purse back. I knew who did it. So fine, whatever. He gets the purse back. Okay.
I have so many questions. Continue.
Hold on. He gets the purse back. Then I just forget about this incident for, years. Fast forward, I'm like late teens, early 20s. My Uncle Victor they're talking about something. They're like, oh, remember that time when somebody stole, my mother's purse? That guy really got what was coming to him. So I was like, what do you mean what's coming to him? Like, I never heard of it. I thought you just got the purse back. Like, what happened? He goes, well, what happened is I went to the bodega.
Vigilante justice?
Yeah. He goes, I went to the bodega. He goes, I knew who had stolen the purse. He goes, he wasn't there because he just was dropping the purse off. He says, to get the stolen goods back, he said, listen, I know the woman whose purse you stole. It's going to be really bad. She knows that things are going on back here. So just give me the purse. I'll take care of everything else, but just give me the purse. I'll give it back to her. He didn't say it was his sister-in-law or anything like that. So he gets the purse back. That night, I had no idea. He went and got drunk with the guy who stole my mother's purse, he was sure of, gets him drunk, takes him to our garage, which was detached from our house. My uncle was a welder and worked with tools, tied him up in our garage for 2 days and melted the skin off his kneecaps with his welding blowtorch.
What? What? How have you never told me this story? How have you never told me this story? What are you talking about?
He blew. Did I
what
tell
are
you
you
this?
talking about? You just implicated your uncle to go to jail.
Yeah, he's dead.
Your uncle's dead.
I told you he died. R.I.P.
Oh my God, R.I.P. I forgot about that part.
R.I.P. Yeah, R.I.P. He died of cancer. He said, no meds. I'm going out.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Crazy.
No meds.
No
Why?
meds. My phone's watch is ringing.
Why wouldn't he take advantage of medical advancements?
Because he's ripping guys. He's fucking heating guys' skin off their kneecaps.
Wait, your uncle had that in him?
Yes.
He in his DNA, he could melt someone's knees?
This is what I'm saying. He said, and that's why I brought it up, because he said to him, you the wrong guy with the wrong family.
What about a punch in the mouth?
Nope. He said.
What happened to a good shot in the chops?
He had to make a statement.
He welded his knees off?
Skin off his kneecaps.